Welcome back to the show, guys.
You set my lips on fire. You want the key to my heart. You got a special way to move me. Can't stop now. Let's do it again. You keep me dancing through the moonlight. I feel the pleasure in your touch. And everything you always have done. Oh, I can't get enough. No, I can't get enough. Instant replay. Got to have it. Instant replay. Whoa. Instant replay. Got to have your love again. I feel so good about us. I found a shining
Okay.
star.
Go back.
And when I look into your eyes, it's magic. I just know this can't be a dream. I'm so happy, must be real. In every way, it's getting stronger.
There have been quite a few James
Bond week continues. Let's get this Bond week. A week of Bond. Let's go.
Bond actors over the years, reaching a grand total of 9. James Bond is one of those iconic roles that can only be played by a truly amazing actor. It's a coveted role, but only one person can
Not
play it
Daniel
at a
Craig.
time.
Bond. James Bond.
Because of this, producers are very careful in selecting the actor for the job. But you
And then
may
look
be
at that. It's like fucking Jason Bourne. It's a completely different. It's a different animal.
surprised to hear that there are dozens of actors who were either considered for the role or officially offered the role. In this video, we're going to take a look back
Let's
at
go.
all the actors who were almost
Let's
cast as
go. Let's go.
dead. Stanley Baker was another
God.
actor
Hold on,
considered
let's
to
go
play
right
James
back.
Bond in 19...
Who? This guy with a pipe? God, that would have been fucking a really different Bond. He just has a pipe. Yeah, James Lazenby had a pipe. Okay.
1961, but the casting
Fair enough.
directors ended up choosing Sean Connery instead. Stanley Baker was another
Jesus, that. Fuck me, Mr. Burns.
actor considered in 61, but because he didn't want to commit to 3 entire movies,
He looks like Sean Connery, like when he gets older, like emaciated, like Sean Connery's bigger, older brother. Do you know what I mean?
he was turned down. In 1962, Rex Harrison and
No. No. Just no. I don't know what's going on, but just no. Rex Harrison, no. Wrong.
David Niven were considered to play James
Jesus Christ. This is awful. Like, David Niven. Fucking hell. Imagine him with that wee pencil moustache kicking people in the ass. Kicking people in the ass through windows. Da-da-da, da-da-do. And he just delivers a wee line like, oh, darling. Pop up in the champagne, will you?
Bond, but Sean Connery was considered a better
He's just always drinking champagne out of those wee champagne glasses that have like a wee sip in it, and you just neck it all in one go, and that's fucking hell.
fit. Ian Fleming, the original author of the James Bond novels, personally
Maybe it's getting. We're getting warmer. It's getting better.
wanted actor Richard Todd to play James Bond in 1962. Unfortunately, Richard Todd was too busy, and ultimately the role was given to Sean Connery due to scheduling conflicts.
God, I bet you he's eating his guts out. I bet you he ate his guts out for the rest of his life. Like, why was I too busy? You were too busy.
Actor Jeremy Brett was considered for
God, him. He was Sherlock Holmes. Jeremy Brett. Like, he would have been a very homosexual Bond. It would have been very innuendo laced. Like, is Bond banging the man? What's going on?
the role of James Bond in 1967. However, Brett was worried his career would take a hit if he accepted the role, and he declined.
Meanwhile, his fucking career went into the fucking tanked after that. He did Sherlock Holmes TV show, and it just tanked, and we never seen him again. Little did he know he should have took that role. Who was this for, Connery or Roger Moore? This was probably the Moore era, when we got Roger Moore, so we maxed out.
Peter Purvis, Robert Campbell, and Patrick Mower all auditioned
That's an interesting fucking jaw. Like, it's an interesting chin and jaw. Like, that's almost fascinating. Like, you could spend 2 hours watching that fucking chin. Like, you just go, fuck me, how does someone have a jaw like that? That is masculine as fuck. Like, the only person I've ever seen with that is maybe Michael Jackson, and he got his like artificially done. God damn, that's a manly jaw. I'm jealous of that. So, I mean, that's a man's man. I get what that means now. He's a man's man. I get what that means now. Fuck me, I get it now, Robert Campbell, and now you've made me realize.
for the role in 1967.
Oh yes, move over, Patrick Moore. Move over. This is like Paul McCartney Bond. Fucking awful. Like, is he coming into the role with that hair? That would have been great. Roger Moore suits and that fucking hair. Like bell bottom suits. Bell bottom safari suits. The color coordinated bell bottom safari suits and that hair.
But the producers chose to accept George Lazenby instead. While the
Good
movie
choice, good choice. Michael Caine, is too blonde though. Caine would have made a good Bond. Yeah, but it would have finished him. It would have ended his career. Caine, see all the other guys that were like worried about doing Bond. It's like they thought it would fuck their career up. That's because like Michael Caine could legitimately say that. It would have fucked up his career. He went on to have a prolific career. Those other guys didn't.
movie producers wanted Michael Caine to play James Bond in 1967,
I can see that. You just wear big thick glasses, big thick Austin Powers glasses. 60s, Michael Caine shagging all the birds in the 60s. I can see that. Like all the 60s women love him. I can definitely see that. But then he went on to do Harry Palmer. He did like his own version of James Bond called Harry Palmer. Harry Palmer. They're really like bread and buttery, like boring James Bond films where it's all just phone calls and stuff. Like there's not a lot of action. It's proper espionage movies.
Caine declined. Because he had already played the spy Harry Palmer in 3 previous
There you go.
films, he didn't want to be remembered as a spy actor.
There you go.
Dick Van Dyke was a beloved actor, but producer Albert Broccoli
Could you imagine that frightening? He looks like he eats children. I've never seen Dick Van Dyke that young. He's frightening. I've always seen him as like a friendly, handsome old man. I've never seen him in this form. That is frightening. He looks like a DUP counselor or something. Big fucking DUP, like Queen Elizabeth teeth. Nephilim giant, eat your baby's bloodline.
was unimpressed with his fake English accent. Daniel Pylon was 27
Daniel Pylon. Suave. He should have been called Guy. Guy Pylon. Guy Richards. His face is Guy Richards. He should have changed his name to Guy Richards. My God, that is a Bond if ever I've seen one. There's something about him. Like I've never seen him act. Don't know who this guy is. But Jesus Christ, just going on the picture. Fucking get him in. Get him in for an audition. I want to see him.
years old when he auditioned for the role in 1967, but co-producer Harry Saltzman
He should have been instead of Dalton. They should have just got him.
declined him because he thought he was too young. John Richardson, Anthony Rogers,
No, no, and no. Do you know what I mean? No. If you're gonna get him, you might as well get fucking Richard Dreyfuss or someone.
and Hans de Vries were all very close to
What about Robert Shaw? Robert Shaw should have played Bond in the 50s. There should have been a 1950s, early 60s Bond before Sean Connery. Robert Shaw.
winning the role of James Bond in 1967.
Let's just check that out. Hold on. Young Robert Shaw. Pictures. Yeah. The name's Bond. Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry, this item was. Yeah, do you know what I mean? The name's Bond. James Bond. Look at that for a fucking face, man. That is a fucking. He looks like he would eat a shark for breakfast. Fisherman jumper. 2 tons of him. 25 footer. Fucking right. I'm picking out the Bonds. Like he would have been a great Bond back in the like early days. Like that shit. That's what we all know him from. Like that's where we all know him. Look at that shit. That's like all American Robert Shaw. That's if Robert Shaw drove a big fucking 18-wheeler truck. That's Robert Shaw when after he fought in the Vietnam War. Like that's American Shaw. That's great, man. That's fucking absolutely brilliant. Yeah, like that shit. Where is it? That shit. Bond. Underwater scuba. Doctor No. Mr. Bond. Name's James Bond. My name's Bond. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, you can see where I'm coming from. That's the fucking Bond that I want to be seeing. Nazi Bond, 1940s, fucking taking on the Nazis, James Bond. Absolutely brilliant. There's one where he is a Nazi. That looks like a great film. Get that in you. Find out what that is. Robert Shaw. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, where were we? Back to this fucking dude. I'm glad he didn't get it.
But George Lazenby beat them all with his impressive screen test fight scene. Terence Stamp was eager for the role in 1967, but
I like Terrence Stamp, but no.
he had so many ideas for future films that co-producer Harry Saltzman felt he was a bit too radical for the role. Eric Braeden was almost considered for the role in 1968 due to his impeccable British dialect. However,
Impeccable British dialect. That would be great. I would love to see a fucking screenplay of that one. Screen test.
after co-producer Albert Broccoli learned he was not English, he decided not to choose him as the new James Bond.
But his screen test, his English accent was impeccable. Brilliant. But he would have been shite, look at him.
Albert's opinion, only people in the Commonwealth would be the right choice to play James Bond.
Only people in the Commonwealth. What a bastard.
Poor Peter Snow auditioned for the role in 1968.
He's too bald. He's too receded. No. Peter Snow. Peter Snow? Peter fucking Snow? Hold on, is that the guy that does the documentaries? Is that Dan Snow's dad? He does boring. Fuck off.
But at
Can you believe that? Peter Snow. I know who that is. Jeez.
6'5", he was deemed too tall to play
He looked that age even back in the 70s.
Bond. Oliver Reed tried for the role in 1969, but
Oliver Reed could have been a good one. Nearly. But he's too pissed all the time.
the producers felt his public image was too poor for any film with Reed to be successful.
There you go.
Cunate Arkin auditioned for the role in
That's like arguably a better Oliver Reed. Who? Cunat Arkin? Jesus Christ. That's like Oliver Reed fucked Elvis or something and had this guy. My God. Imagine that was Bond. Fat Bond. A fat, good-looking Bond.
1969, but for reasons unknown, he was
This
not
is a
accepted.
great video. Where did this guy pull this guy from?
Between 1969 and 72,
He should have been great. He had the looks. He had the suave. Do you know what I mean? 40-year-old man wearing a fucking big fucking watch on his hairy arms. Do you know what I mean? Like elasticated, like he had that thing you're putting on your watch, like a man in the morning and shaving. He had all that down. Do you know what I mean? He was a man's man, but he had the accent, impeccable accent. Timothy Dalton. Like, but he was just dry and bollocks. He was fucking bollocks. It's like, I want to like him, but there's zero reason to.
producers attempted to win over Timothy Dalton to play the role of James Bond. However, at the time, Timothy feared he was too young for the role and was terrified to follow up the amazing performance of Sean Connery. It wasn't until 1986 he finally accepted.
But not Roger Moore.
Roger Greene auditioned in 1970, but Sean Connery once again prevailed.
Never venture outdoors at the dark.
Like we would rather have went for a 60-year-old Connery rather than that guy because he was shit. Oh, fuck.
Without this, witness this revolutionary headlamp that is sweeping the world by storm.
Failed. Simon D was mostly viewed as a talk show host, so most people didn't seriously consider his audition in 1971.
You couldn't seriously consider that. Not in that suit. Come on. These aren't credible.
William Gaunt auditioned for the James Bond film Live and Let Die in 1971.
Who does he look like? He looks like somebody. He fucking looks like somebody.
But
I
Roger
know.
Moore was chosen instead. American
God.
actor John Gavin was almost considered to play the first non-English James
Almost considered. That means that he had no chance. These people, this is all fucking bollocks. These people had no chance. This guy's making it up.
Bond, but Sean Connery decided to reprise his role in 1971. After John Gavin auditioned again in 1973, the producers decided James Bond was best played by an English actor.
Yeah, we don't want Americans playing it. Fuck off.
Do you think the role of James Bond should have been given to actors outside of England? Click
No.
the like button.
No.
In 1971, Simon Oates was very close to winning the role, but Sean Connery returned and
Simon Schnotes, like. Fucking no.
was immediately selected. He was called back for an audition in 1973, but at the time he was already involved in other projects. Peter Lawton was strongly considered in 1972, but his limited acting experience made the producers wary, and they eventually chose Roger Moore instead. Guy Pearce auditioned in 1972, but the producers wanted an actor whose face was already well known. While Timothy Dalton was requested to play Bond in 1979, he was dissatisfied with where the movies were headed, and it wasn't until '86 that he accepted. David Warbeck auditioned in 1979, but the producers considered
I
his
don't know who
acting
any
too
of these
stiff
people
for the
are.
role. Michael Jaston and Patrick Mower were both close to playing Bond in 1980 when Roger Moore considered quitting. However, Moore ultimately decided to stay. While Lewis Collins auditioned in 1982, the producers thought his acting style was too aggressive. Ian Ogilvy was yet another actor who attempted to
Awful.
win the role while Roger Moore contemplated quitting the series.
Is that Face from A-Team? Who is this guy? Look at this weird, hairless fucking chest. The shirt down, like the fifth button. Wow, that Casio watch. Check that out.
But in 1983, Roger Moore returned. In 1983, James Brolin was so close to winning the role, he bought a new house in London.
Fuck me, he bought a house in London. Like he thought he got the role. Let's watch that screen test. After I've got it.
But Roger Moore agreed to return, leaving Brolin disappointed. Pierce Brosnan almost played Bond in 1986, but he was too busy playing the role.
That would have arguably been better. I think it would have been better because he was doing other wee spy movies that were kind of the films were shit, but he in it had something. You're like, yeah, he has a certain quality. Do you know what I mean? If he was doing it in '86, that would have been fucking fantastic. I think it might have been. Imagine those suits in '86. This guy, that suave, posh bastard, and Anglo-Irish voice.
Of Remington Steele at the time. Although Daniel Pylon, Sam Neill, and Anthony Hamilton all auditioned
Sam Neill gives a surprisingly good audition. We'll go through that.
in 1986, Timothy Dalton was chosen instead to play Bond. Mel Gibson was requested to audition in 1987,
Awful.
but was declined by Albert Broccoli because he wasn't British.
Awful.
The picky producers decided that due to Christopher Lambert's French accent, they would decline his 1987 audition. Neil Dixon, Mark Greenstreet, and Simon McCorkindale all auditioned for the role in 1980.
Who oh fuck, I know him. I thought he was a cricket player. Yes, I know him. I thought that was Ian Botham or some shit. No, I know him. Simon McCorkindale. He was in what was it called? The Mystery of the Sands or something was it called? It's a good film. Michael York or something. The Riddle of the Sands. That's what it is. The Riddle of the Sands. Fuck, I loved that when I was a kid. It was a real Sunday matinee movie. World War One movie. What else is he begin? He's a real posh dude. Simon McCorkindale, but he's not. But it's like Ben Fogle or someone playing Bond. It's just wrong.
1987, but Timothy Dalton was chosen instead. In 1987, an
It's fucking jumper, mate. Nice jumper. Yeah, feeling that shit.
obscure Australian model Finlay Light was so close to winning the role of Bond in the
McGrath.
Living Daylights, he signed a 10-year contract. Unfortunately for him, Timothy Dalton was chosen instead.
I could actually have that hair soon if I kept growing it. I'd get a mullet going.
Andrew Clark was possibly the most popular actor in Australia in the 80s, but his
Australia. You might as well say the fucking moon. No one cares. Australian actors suck. Australian music sucks. Australian films suck. Okay, like every once and again, every once in a while, you'll get like you'll get like a Mad Max or something that could only have been made in Australia, and that's why it's great. But do you know what I mean? Even then, when you get something good, like a Mondo Rock or a fucking, it's not that good. Australia, for some reason, is a weird place. It doesn't produce a lot of good culture.
fame down under wasn't enough to beat Timothy Dalton in 1987. In 1994,
What the fuck is that? Who's he? That looks like AI. That looks like a fucking AI computer generated, like like a like a like a computer game character. It's fucking weird.
after Timothy Dalton's long reign
I'm convinced that is fucking AI generated.
as Bond, Mark Frankel and Lambert Wilson were both given the opportunity to audition as the new James Bond.
Wow.
However,
Peace. It's like wiping your ass with silk.
Pierce Brosnan was granted the coveted role instead. Paul McGann was very close to playing Bond.
Wow. With Neil and I, Paul McGann. He thought he would go for the role, like. You actually went up for that role. Like in Withnell and I, they were actually playing shitty actors going for roles, but like he actually, you can tell that film's great because that's him writing about stuff that they know. But like it's like a Daniel Craig situation where he went for the role, but Daniel Craig got it. So I mean, that's why Daniel Craig couldn't fucking believe it. He was like, I'm not this type of an actor. I'm more like Paul McGann sort of level. It's like Paul McGann becoming a new Bond. You would just go, what?
After his impressive 1994 audition. While Pierce
Yeah, 19. I admit, is it like I'd say his audition would have been impressive. Paul McGann was a good actor when he was young. Like a young Paul McGann is a good actor. Like up with and I shit was good. Like he did have good prose. Um, he's just not Batman, or he's just not Bond. Batman.
Brosnan was chosen to play the new James Bond, it was likely Paul McGann would have played Bond if Pierce
What is that? That's the beginnings. That's the very beginnings. Do you know what this is? This is the very, very early stages of the Russell Brand haircut. That's the very early stages of it. This later he became Russell Brand. That's Russell Brand's dad.
Brosnan ever decided to quit. Director Martin Campbell wanted Henry
Can you imagine Henry Cavill, of course, Superman? Can you imagine if that was Bond? I wouldn't watch it anymore. It would just be bland. James Bland. Henry fucking Cavill. I'm done. Like if that doesn't make you absolutely just sick, do you know what I mean? Big fucking handsome dude with muscles. There we go. That's all Bond is. What about a fucking good actor?
Cavill to play James Bond in 2005, but the producers decided he was simply too young for the role at the time. Sam Worthington, River Friend, and Julian McMillan.
Sam Worthington, Sam Borrington, and this guy. Are you fucking serious? You actually were considering this guy? That's a joke. He can't even grow facial hair. He's not James Bond. Come on, like Bond is like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? He's like the man from Milk Tray. He sneaks into your room at night dressed in black with like a silver fucking Rolex watch on a hairy arms, and he's got like fucking. He's like a come on,
Man, all auditioned for James Bond in
Rupert Friend. Wrong name, wrong actor, wrong everything.
2005, but
He looks Russian or Ukrainian. Julian McMahon. I know. I looked this. I can't believe that. How gay would that have been? Julian McMahon. That looks like something out of like Dawson's Creek, like your Dawson's Creek photo. Desperate Housewives. Like, what is that? That is stinking. That is stinking. Hey, I'm Julian McMahon. Consider me for your film. This is the picture that they throw out to all the fucking movie execs, all the casting directors. Like, hey, you want this guy in your film? Look at that wee look he's given. I will do anything for this film role. That's all I'm gonna say.
Daniel Craig was chosen instead. Alex O'Loughlin and Clive Owen tried their
Who?
best to win the role in 2005.
There we go. There's our boy. Look at they picked the worst picture of him ever. God, could you have picked a bad picture? Like, do you know what I mean?
But Daniel
It's like, so man, it's like Anthony Cumia. He looks like Anthony. It's you know what I mean. He's probably about 68 there. Like, I mean,
Craig was chosen instead. Finally, Dougray Scott auditioned in 2000.
he would have been fucking awful. Dougray Scott would have been a really horrible Bond. Really annoying. He's an annoying actor. He would be, if he was Bond, I wouldn't be watching it. Dougray Scott. Just not Bond. He would be a Bond villain. They should have made him a Bond villain, yes. Bond villain, just not Bond.
2005, but it's unknown why he wasn't accepted.
You could play like 006. Do you know what I mean? Or you could play 008, but not 007.
That's it for our list of failed auditions over the years. However, there were also a lot of actors who
video.
the producers and directors reached out to when casting. This next list includes actors who were considered for the role, but for whatever
Oh,
reason, they
Jesus.
decided to decline. In 1959, 1961, and
Richard Burton, I was considered for the role of James Bond, James Bond. Shaken, not stirred. For I did say that James Bond, he's fucking shit. I don't like Richard Burton. He bores the tits off me. He's meant to be the best actor ever, and it's just like, yeah, if you're watching fucking Rome or something, it's just bollocks.
1968, the producers of the films asked Richard Burton to
I was watching a fucking film about Rome last night, like Rome, like an old '60s film about Rome. It wasn't Ben Hur, and it was called The Robe, but it had Richard Burton in it as like a Roman commander, and it was incredible. It's weird, like all these '50s dudes, like there's everyone's just out of shape, like. It's weird. It's like everyone's holding their stomachs in, and like Richard Burton's walking around as this Roman warrior, and he just has arms. You can tell he never lifted a fucking weight in his life. He never did any physical exercise in his life, and he's just walking around in this Roman warrior's outfit, and you're just thinking like he goes on a battlefield and slays fucking loads of people. It's just fucking bollocks. Like, it's just like they didn't even work out. Like, but yeah.
play the role of James Bond. However, Burton felt that the role was too risky, and he didn't want it to harm his career.
Do you know what I mean?
He
They
was
have
willing
like
to play the role.
he has like they have like weird out of shape in shape man bodies where they're just holding their gut in and stuff and all, and like they're like weird emaciated like shoulders, which is they've never worked out ever. It's fucking weird. Do you know what I mean? It's like just the physicality of just the differences through the decades.
But for a steep price that the producers considered too
Great jacket. I like this wee outfit. That wee watch is great. Do you know what I mean? It could have been like maybe like a or like a what do you call him? James Lazenby. What do you call him? Lazenby, that kind of a Bond. He could have done a Lazenby type of Bond, but it would have been bollocks.
expensive. In 1961, Cary Grant was considered to play
What is that? That picture just says it all. Like, what is Cary Grant? Who is Cary Grant? I'm calling for a transvestigation. Like, Cary Grant. Cary Grant. It's like, do you know what I mean? Jim Carrey wouldn't even take a picture like that. This is the photos that you're sending out to the casters, like the casting directors. I'm Cary Grant. I'll do anything for this film, Mr. Producer.
James Bond. The actor, however, was
Creepy.
58 at the time, and he felt he was too old to play James Bond. Furthermore, it was intended to be a series
What the hell kind of a Bond would that have been? Look at that.
of movies, and Grant was
It would have been a boring movie.
only interested in doing one movie at the most. Director Terrence Young wanted
Directed by Alfred Hitchcock.
Richard Johnson to play James Bond in 1961. However,
God.
Johnson already had a contract with MGM and didn't want another.
This is getting
James
worse.
Mason was offered a contract for 3 films in 1961,
James
but Mason was
Mason.
only interested in 2 and was thus declined. Later, he was called back to potentially play the villain in the film Moonraker, but Michael Lonsdale was chosen instead. Patrick McGoohan thought the role of James Bond was too promiscuous, and he turned down the offer in
Yeah,
1961.
he's got standards.
No matter how coveted the role of James Bond was considered to be, there will always be people who think they're above everyone else.
Anyway, that breaks it down for now. This has been a long video. I'll just do this maybe because I wanna wrap up the Bond season. I'll leave you with this. This is a good one. 17 seconds, Jesus.
I
have to get me ad in, of course. 17 seconds, like 30-second video. Fucking YouTube. Right, look at that. Like, come on, look at the shirt and all. Like the wee the sort of folds of the shirt, like the frills. That's amazing. Right, let's get this up.
So you're Tatiana Romanova.
My friends call me Tanya.
My friends call me Bond. James Bond.
That's great. Come on, like that's great. That is a good Bond. That's exactly what Bond is. Like he nailed it. We'll just watch it one more time, because it's good.
So you're Tatiana Romanova.
My friends call me Tanya.
My friends call me Bond. James Bond.
Yes. Yeah, that would have worked. Sam Neill definitely would have worked. That would have fucking worked. That would have worked. That could have been, instead of Timothy Dalton, we just got Sam Neill. Now that would have been good. That would have been good. So we went from Roger Moore to fucking briefly back to Sean Connery, and then fucking Sam Neill could have took the reins. He could have done it through the early 80s, and then fucking Pierce Brosnan could have took it over in 86, 87 with that suit. Do you know what I mean? And then you forget, like Pierce Brosnan did it too long. Do you know what I mean? So it got stale with him. So you get rid of him in like the early 90s, and you put in fucking in the mid 90s and early 2000s. You put in fucking Clive Owen, and boom, the legacy has never faltered. I should have steered the ship. What is it? Josh Brolin. Bond. Screen test. James Brolin, sorry. Papa Brolin. I watch how fucking bollocks this is.
Look surprised to see me. I thought you were expecting me.
So you are Titania Romanova.
My friends call me Tanya.
Mine call me James Bond.
Ugh, shite.
It was an excellent test.
It was fucking bollocks, man.
My mouth is
Where were you? What test are you watching?
It's just the right size.
Put some clothes on, mate. What Bond would never stand there and fucking like a lady and just get on like.
For me, that is.
Although he's an American, he's, sophisticated.
Like he leant in to kiss her. Do you know what I mean? She's actually more Bond than he is. What shite are you saying? What are you saying?
Sophisticated kind of has a mid-Atlantic style.
No, he doesn't. So there you go, guys. So there you go. I'll just leave you on the real Bond. So there you go. That's the show. That's this episode of Bond Continued. Bond Continued. That shit. That's how it's fucking done, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that look. He'd fuck you up. And then he just smiled afterwards. Naturally. Fucking right, like. That's what he had moles in his face. He got all the moles cut off his face for the role. Except that one. That's the best one. Keep that one. Alright, guys. Look at that shit. I'll see you on the next one. Might come back again. Even Sean Connery liked him. He was just like, Sean Connery was like, fuck yeah, I like this guy. This is a guy I can get behind. That shit. Cigars. Fucking her is lethal. Like, that's literally what my hair could be if I keep on doing it. So, the ambassador of crime.